share my screen.
Okay.
Is it visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, can you see this? Can you see my Swagger UI?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So my task for this project was I need to make a Spring backend app exposing the REST API and test it with the documented what is this API doc. So I first of all, Swagger is like a live tester like Postman. Postman, remember that we have to put in delete and select delete, but this one is like different. You can just put in your API links and then put in your specific IDs. Let me just go to the delete button and show you. You put in your ID, and then when it returns with a 204 status, the activity was deleted successfully. So
Okay.
I'm going to run a different post. I'm going to create a new activity here to show you how this thing works. I'm going to change the ID number to 4 and then change the name and say, for example, Bob, and then swim. Put in different numbers, 40 and 8. So now what I'm going to do is when I click the execute Swagger button, it's going to send it to the real HTTP request to my Springboard app, and then it will return a successful status code. So I'm going to execute. As you can see, the status was successfully, the activity created was created successfully. I have Bob and swim and the distance and the duration minutes. Now to see if this was created, this activity was created, I go to my get method where it returns all the activities in the system and I execute all of them. As you can see, we have Bob added here. So now,
Yes, I can see.
yes. So now I want to, let's say I want to update. I use the put method. Inside this put method, I need to put in a specific ID of that activity. So I must go look for all those activities. Let's say I want to change evening ride. I go take this specific ID and copy it. Then I go, sorry, I I go here and then I change the name. It was evening ride. I'll just say this and then let me see, city ride. Just put joyride here. Okay, and then I'll execute it. So it is executed. I have it is being what is this updated. So I need to check if in my get method it pulled through. So I'll go to all of my what is this activities and execute it. As you can see, it is updated. So that's how the post request works. Swagger is just a better version of Postman. And what is this? There's another app called Hotspot, and then you put in your local host 8080. This comes from my what is this application YML. Let me just go here. Application YML sort of tells the app on the instructions, like the instructions, the accessibility on how to get into a specific platform. For example, a link I have slash docs. If I can show you in the back end here, we have a local host API docs. Now API docs is just a raw open API specification. So it shows like the title. It is the internal of the output here. Swagger U. What is this? Swagger UI. So as you can see, I have the title Strider backend and the REST API for Strider and the name and the email and the license. And then we have the tags, which is activities. We get the activity by its ID. This is the get by method, which is used in the front end here when we want to get a specific activity. I'll just use the get method now. We use it in our delete and get. So now um, let's say I want to get this specific activity. I'll copy this ID and I'll place it here and then execute. As you can see, we can see the activity, the title, the description, and the distance, kilometers, and all of that. And any questions before I
Yes,
move on?
I can see.
Okay.
No, so far you have covered all of the questions I was.
Okay. And then we forgot to use the delete button. Let's say we want to delete Bob. So we take the specific ID, we take the specific ID and copy it. Sorry. And then we paste it here. It must return a 204 status code. If not, it will return a 404, meaning that the activity is not found. So let's hope it works. Execute. It returned a 204 status, meaning the activity was deleted. Now to check if it was really deleted, we go get all our activities. Let me just close this and execute it. Now Bob is removed. So that's how the CRUD operation works in the front end in our Swagger UI. And then let me just go here. What you're seeing here is my app. I have the configuration, the controllers, the DTO, and the models and the repositories. So Swagger automatically scan my, what is this, my controllers, activity controllers, and my models, and then it generates a clean and clickable testable documentation for that. I have API docs here. So sorry, I'll just go to my open API configuration. So here is a
Okay.
configuration class for customizing the generated open API Swagger documentation. And then this class sets the title, the version, the description, the contact details, and the license and the information that appears in Swagger UI. So what they are talking about here comes from our API docs. As you can see, we have the license, the contact, the name, and the description. This is where the configuration happened. And then we have our Swagger UI, which displays the front end, which is the contact and the API docs or API and the servers and schemas too. And
Okay.
then it creates and configures the open API bin, and then Spring automatically loads this into an open API auto configuration, and it allows me to customize how my API documentation looks. And then here it's just a short thing. We create an info block that defines core methods for the API documentation. The title displayed in Swagger that we see in here, this one, it is displayed, and then the version, and then the short description and the contact information shown in the document. There's nothing much here. I'll just go to my activity controllers. Before I move on, do you have any questions, ma'am?
Now, so far it's pretty much straightforward.
Okay. So here I have my activity controllers, which I think it is the main file that plays a huge role in my Swagger UI. As you can see here, I'm using my REST controller and REST request mapping, which gets my API and all the activities. So Swagger uses a tag for grouping all the activities related to the endpoints. And then we are injecting our services that handles a business logic. And then I'm using my get method to get the specific activity with its unique ID. This what you see here is happening in the front end in my Swagger UI.
Yeah, when you were designating the IDs, I saw.
Yes. And then I'm using my post method again, which creates a new activity and returns with its generated unique ID. And then it responds with a 201 status code, and then it creates the activity using the service layer. Then while it builds the unique ID, it builds the URI for the unique resources. Yeah. And then it returns the 201 status created with the created object in the body. Then again, I'm using my get method to fetch a single activity by its unique ID and use optional to handle 404 not found. So it gets the ID and returns this status code. Then I'm using the put method. The put method is specifically for updating our existing activities. Then it will return a 200 if successful. If not, it returns a 404, and that went perfect when I tested it.
Yeah,
Then,
when you were doing the KFC, yes.
yes. Then when I go to my delete method, I can delete the activity according to its unique ID, and it will always return an HTTP 204 no contact, which means it was successfully deleted. So I'm using delete mapping to get the ID and operation summary to delete an activity. And then I have my activity to do, I have my unique ID and my title, my description. What you see here is what shows where, let me see, is what shows in here. As you can see, we have the ID, the title, the description, and the distance kilometers and the duration minutes. That is my activity TDO. Then I go to my model. Inside this model is an activity internally representing a running and cycling workout activity. So this class maps directly to a database through a JPA annotations, and each instance represents one activity record stored in the database. Then I have my primary key, which is my unique ID for the activity, and it is automatically generated by Hibernate when a new activity is saved with the post method. Then I have my titles, which is morning run, and I have the distance completed, which is measured in kilometers, and the duration of the activity in minutes, and the date when the activity took place. And a full constructor is used to create the activity objects manually, and it is useful for testing or for custom logic. So I did test those using my CRUD operations. Now I want to go to my PoxML. PoxML also added a role in this application. If I didn't add some packages, I would get errors. So I imported which package? The Swagger OpenAI package, which led my application to become successful, and also these dependencies for Jakarta validation. If I didn't add it, I would get it would throw an unknown exception or just the package name. Then I have my plugins for
Yes.
Maven. I know that when I when I upload my project from the file explorer, I need to load Maven so that these can turn green and my application can run perfectly. So and then I have my JPA Hibernate Spring TX and my Spring Boot framework. Besides that, I have my data.sql, and I'm inserting into activity the ID, the title, the description, the distance kilometers, and the duration minutes. As you can see, I have morning run and evening ride. These, what we see here, is happening in our Swagger. What is sorry, Swagger UI preset. I changed it. Ah, I deleted them. I'll just create a new post again. I'll put in 3 and right. Then we put in a loop and we change the numbers to S 5.2. And 28. And I'm going to execute it. It was executed and it returned a 201 status code, which means the activity was created successfully. Now we go check all our activities. If they are loaded correctly, we're gonna execute it. And as you can see, we have the morning ride park loop that comes from my what is this, data SQL. Any questions?
Yes, I can do that. No questions.
Okay.
Nothing on my side.
I think I'm done explaining. That is my application.
Okay. The reason I don't have any questions is because you've been going back and forth, showing me the application, going to the code, showing me where exactly code is connecting to your application. So that's why I don't have any questions, because that's where I was going to ask you. You know, like, okay, I see you talking about this, but where in the code does this happen? You already covered that, and that is a good presentation. So you have demonstrated a solid understanding of the Spring Boot product application that you created. Did good with the implementations of the Swagger. And I won't lie, you did a good job. How you added the operations of the Swagger integration and also proper validation. I noticed you also had the what is it, the dependencies for the validations, which is good, the JPA. So all in all, this is good.
Thank,
This is good. I won't lie.
thank
This is
you.
good. You did a good job. Good. Your explanation of the code, good. I followed you. I didn't get confused anyway. You explaining, going back and forth, actually assisted me to understand your code better. All in all, great job, Sue.
Thank you.